Hey, what's up guys? Today we're going to talk about my Thermarest Neoair Xlite gear failure and the upgrade to the Uberlite. We'll also quickly talk about the inflation pump and how much I like that. And at the end, if you want to stick around, I'm going to briefly talk about the Zlite sole, which was the pad I started out with, and why I have made the switch to inflatable pads. This definitely isn't new information for everybody, but this would have been helpful for me when I was starting out, and hopefully I can help you make a couple decisions on sleeping pads. So this is the Neoair Xlite regular sleeping pad. I've had it for about 2.5 years. At the end of last season, I noticed a very small defect in between two of the baffles. And then the first outing this season, I noticed a much larger one next to the adjacent baffle. So it doesn't actually cause any issues with leaks or anything like that. You can't even honestly tell when you're laying on the pad, but I was just really worried that it was going to continue to get worse and worse and eventually cause a problem. So I emailed Thermarest. They reached out to me right away and let me know this is just a defect with the pad and that they would replace the pad, no problem. So all I had to do was write no warranty on the top with permanent marker, and they were going to ship me one right out. So about the same time, they had the Uberlite had just been released, and I was also considering upgrading this to a large pad. So I asked them if I could make the switch. They told me all I have to do is send them the difference in price, which is $169 for this pad and $209 for the Uberlite. So I simply sent them the $40 difference, and they sent me a brand new Uberlite 3 days later. So the original Xlite is 20 inches wide, 72 inches long, weighs just under 12 ounces, and has an R value of 3.2. There's several good videos out there on R value. Bigfoot has a really good one if you want to check out that one. It's basically how warm the pad is. The new Uberlite obviously is larger. This is the regular size. This is the large. It is 25 inches wide by 77 inches long. It weighs exactly 11 ounces. It is listed as weighing 12 ounces. And it has a R value of 2.0. The listed weight of the Uberlite regular is 8.8 ounces. I've seen even lighter numbers on other people's reviews. So it's at least a full 3 ounces less than the equivalent size Xlite. I've only used the Uberlite on one trip and only got down to like 48 degrees was our low. But there was no noticeable difference between the two pads on temperature-wise. I am about 6'5", 210 pounds, so I was really pushing the regular size sleeping pad to the max. So that is the main reason for making an upgrade. You can see my elbows are falling off when I'm laying on my back, and on my side I just sort of felt like I was really just balanced just on top of the pad. So while it worked, it was just barely fit my need. The large size is much better for my size. It allows me to have both my elbows on the pad while I'm sleeping, and you really just feel like you're more laying on the pad rather than balancing on top of the pad when you're laying on your side. So this is a much better fit for me. Also, you'll notice that although neither of these pads are quiet, this pad is significantly less crinkly compared to the original Xlite, and the feel of the material is much softer. I would highly recommend the large size pad for anybody over 6 foot 6'1", and also anybody who's heavy like me, anybody over probably about 180 pounds. So let's talk about inflation for inflatable pads. The first method is just manual inflation. You simply blow into the valve and fill up the pad. There are a couple drawbacks to this method. The first being the humidity in your breath allows some moisture to get into the pad, which some people claim can cause issues with mold or break down over time. I hadn't had any issues with my previous pad before I had the pump, but that is potential. The main drawback is the difficulty of inflating a pad, especially at the end of a long day. As you can see, this takes several breaths. It took me 21 breaths and about 1 minute and 45 seconds or so to fill this pad, and you can definitely feel the lightheadedness at the end of inflation. Instead of manually inflating your sleeping pad, you can use one of these inflation devices. It's very simple. It runs on 2 AAA batteries. I have at least 20 inflations on this set of batteries, and it's my first set of batteries. All you do is open the lid, it'll automatically come on. You can extend the little nipple out, and then you connect it directly to your sleeping pad. And then you just let it do its magic. So here, let's see how long it takes to inflate this pad. So you can see it is almost all the way inflated. Then you just simply detach the device, put in a couple manual breaths. Seal it off, and you are ready to go. To get the pad to your desired firmness, simply lay on the pad. You can open the valve and let a little bit of air out to get it just set right for you, and then you are good to go. And the next morning, when you are getting ready to get your day moving, simply open the valve and let your body weight do the work and squeeze out all the air. This will save you a little time and let you hit the trail quickly. Quick recap. Both pads are fantastic. They're durable, they're comfortable, they provide good insulation. Although they're pricey, they are very lightweight, and the customer service is fantastic. I like the material and the noise just a little bit more on the Uberlite, and for $10 I definitely recommend going for a large enough size for you and upgrading to the Uberlite if you have the option. I think the inflation pump is fantastic. It makes for a really relaxing camp setup. And the only other thing I will mention is closed cell foam pads. This is the Thermarest Zlite. It's a great pad. It only weighs 14 ounces and only costs $40. Foam pads are fantastic because they're very durable. You can't puncture them and get a little hole. You don't have to worry about inflating them. You can just lay them out on the ground and you are ready to go. In the morning, you just put them back together and throw them in your pack. So these provide great warmth. You can see it has the reflective coating on one side to keep you nice and warm, and it is just great. But for side sleeping, inflatable pad is absolutely been the way to go for me. I appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully you got something out of these videos. Obviously these aren't the only options for you. There's great companies like Big Agnes, Nemo, all those guys making great pads. This is just what I have experience with, and hopefully some of this information helped. I linked a bunch of the products down in the comments. I don't get anything. I'm not affiliated with anybody, so feel free to look at those or whatever works for you. Best of luck. See you next time.